I am super, super happy that you can join us here today. As many of our group members, they're familiar with the fact how much I believe in de-stressing and having some kind of tool to help you, because stress does affect gut health, adrenal health, and how de-stressing and using these tools will calm down your cortisol, therefore improve your adrenal health, therefore will improve your digestion process and overall digestion, decrease inflammation, and all things that follow. I believe in hypnotherapy as well. I think it's important to rely on a great hypnotherapist, someone you could trust or someone that can be recommended, but the tools from EFT are so amazing and such a great quick tool, and you're such an amazing practitioner. I'm gonna let you, this is Lisa, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell us about your work, and tell us more about EFT in general. People, not everyone is familiar, and then we get to do it.
Okay, great. Well, like you just said, I'm Lisa Nichols. I am a certified EFT practitioner and matrix reimprinting practitioner. I'm also a certified life coach. And I never wanted to be in the healing coaching world at all. I always thought it wasn't me. I was always a corporate warrior. I was a vice president at a large bank and very big volunteer at a nonprofit. And then a couple of years ago, I woke up one morning and just thought, I want to become an EFT practitioner. And it was something, it wasn't that I did EFT a lot or anything. And the last 2 years, it's just been such a great, wonderful journey. I find that EFT is such a magical tool to help with so many things, everything from trauma, early childhood trauma to a sprained ankle. I know of an EFT practitioner whose Tourette's syndrome symptoms were released after doing some matrix reimprinting, which is an advanced form of EFT. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's also called tapping, because when you're doing them, you do tap on the meridians in your body. And it's EFT I see as a combination of Eastern philosophy of the meridians, as well as Western science and therapy, everything from somatic and exposure and cognitive therapies. It's kind of all combined into one great tool. But like you said, it's so easy, it's so effective. You can do it by yourself, you can do it on yourself, you can do it with a practitioner. It's I find if I do EFT every day, the world is like magical. I feel so grounded and yet so energized, so present in my body, very resilient, almost like you can't knock me down. Anything that happens, it's just like, okay, what's next? It's an amazing tool for so many things. And I believe for gut health as well. And if you're having issues with your gut, as you know, the gut is associated with digestion of food and energy. And so if you are struggling with digesting life, if there is something that maybe you haven't ever digested, something that maybe happened to you when you were young, and it's still kind of stuck there, like it's just never gone through the system, I truly believe that it ends up showing up in physical symptoms in your gut. And as you mentioned cortisol earlier, and there was a study done at the Harvard Medical School that found that stimulating the meridians like we do with tapping reduces the activity of the amygdala, which is the alarm system for our body, and that it does control the level of cortisol. And it and another study found that the average reduction of cortisol production, or in cortisol in the bloodstream after just 1 hour of tapping, was 24%. So cortisol levels went down on an average 24% after just 1 hour, and some people had as much as 50% decrease. So I don't know if they really know the scientific medical thing that it does. I just know that it works, and there's over 100 studies that have shown the efficacy. It's in one, excuse me, the one that I like to reference is one that was done with veterans who had PTSD, and 84% of them had either complete or partial remission of their PTSD symptoms, that's a really high percentage. So sorry. And it just, like I said, it's a very flexible tool because it gets at the kind of the underlying trauma, the underlying beliefs, the underlying emotional triggers that create either physical or emotional distress in our bodies. So I personally have gone through pancreatitis and diverticulitis. And like I said, as I have continued to use this tool and continue to do kind of my work to release on, beliefs and traumas and triggers, those are going away. And I'm feeling better than I have in years. Like with the pancreas, that's about processing sugar, right? So as I'm learning that life doesn't need to be so serious, that I can have fun in life, that work can be fun, that I don't need to be so, but my way of dealing with the emotional stuff going on in my family when I was young was to become a perfectionist. And as I let go of becoming, those perfectionistic tendencies, then it takes out the kind of the things that are embedded in my cells, in your cells from earlier, that, like I said, kind of show up in physical symptoms.
Absolutely. We manifest a lot of those things. And thank you for explaining. I do use, for my clients that take up my program, certain things in EFT practice and certain wordings that I found helpful for myself. But since now they have you, a professional, someone trained, me, I did it just as on the personal level, what worked for me, and I shared. But since we have this beautiful gift today for Hanukkah, for holidays, for Christmas, I think a lot of people can take that into their life and already feel better with just with the anxiety that's associated with 2020. That alone is calling for some tool to be used, and tapping is excellent for anxiety. So if you don't mind, we will do a short EFT that maybe you guys can follow along right now, or just look at this recording and follow along. Okay. I am ready.
Okay. So I'm going to do a kind of a generic one around stress, releasing of stress that might be held in the gut. And each of you can kind of hold in mind whatever your individual symptoms are. And I just want to preface a couple of things. We'll learn how to do the tapping by doing it, but just to preface a couple of things. First of all, it doesn't matter which hand you use. It can be left or right. You can switch. It doesn't matter. It's very flexible. It also doesn't matter what you say really when you're doing the tapping. And you'll see what I mean when we're doing the tapping. The trick is to be as specific as possible. So instead of just saying, I'm upset, say what it is that you're upset about. So the example would be, I'm afraid of dogs. Maybe you got bit by a dog, a black small dog when you were little. So tap on black small dogs are so scary. They bite. Get like really specific about whatever your issue is as much as you can. And the third thing I would say is, if you follow law of attraction or things like that, it may seem wrong that we're saying the negative things out loud, because we start with the negative things. It's that I'm upset, I didn't like this, this was terrible, you know, whatever the actual issue is, because that's we're training the amygdala. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're releasing. And as we know, when we say things out loud, it takes some of the power away from it. If we hold on to things that can, and not be able to say it out loud, it can generate shame and guilt. And so by saying it out loud, it helps to release the power of it. So not all EFT practitioners do this, but I like, after really tapping on the negative, and until you either kind of run out of things to say, or you feel a shift, or you just feel like you're ready, I like to do what I call a reframe, which is looking at the situation from what are other possible ways of seeing this situation. So it's a maybe thing, you know, like if when you were 3 and you went to go hug your mom, and she kind of pushed you aside and didn't hug you, and that's when you decided right then and there, I'm not lovable. Well, we look at, well, maybe mom just had some bad news. Maybe mom had a headache. Maybe you know, there's all these other things that could have been true, but you decided something else was true. So it's allowing yourself to see a different perspective, and it helps to know that truth is not always truth. It's what we decided at the time.
I love that.
So let's see if there's anything else I want to say. I guess that's it, but I may come up with other things as I say it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap, and you'll follow along with me, and then I'll say something and you'll repeat it out loud. But if there's something that resonates more with you, then say your words, say your truth. So if I say, that really made me angry, and you're like, man, that really hurt my feelings, then say it hurt your feelings, because that's what's true for you. And let's see if there's anything else. Oh, the setup statement, when you're doing it on your own, the setup statement is always, even though I have this problem, and then some form of statement that says, I acknowledge and accept that this is the way I feel right now. So I usually use, I love and I deeply love and completely accept myself. It popped out of my head for a second. But you can use, I choose to forgive myself anyway. I choose to accept the way that this is how I feel. I'm a good person. I deserve better. It's just like some kind of acknowledgement that this is what's true right now. Okay?
Good, I'm excited.
Okay, do you have any questions before I start?
Good to go.
Okay. All right, so let's start with the setup statement. Even though I have this issue in my gut, and I know that the stress that I'm under is not helping. And even though this has been going on for so long, and I'm so tired of it, I just haven't been able to figure out how to fix it. I deeply love and completely accept myself. So let's go to the top of the head. This issue in my gut. Top of the eyebrow, which is on the eyebrow next to the nose. Oh, it's been going on so long. Inside of the eye on the bone. It's so frustrating. Under the eye. I'm so tired of it. Under the nose. I've tried so many things to feel better. On the chin. It sucks feeling bad all the time. Or on the collarbone, which is just below the collarbone, not on the bone, but in the soft spot below it. Or if I do feel good, not knowing when I'll feel bad again. Go to the bottom of the ribs. So frustrating. So tired of it. I want things to change. Under the arm. And there's so much stress in life right now. Yeah, it's just like where your bra strap would go if you're a woman. Okay. The top of the wrist, which is just below the joint of the hand. The stress is just too much. And bottom of the wrist. And I know it's not helping my gut issue. Top of the head. So much stress. I'm going to, let me see. The stress is a trigger for my gut issues. Side of the eye. I know stress creates cortisol and other stress hormones under the eye. But what can I do? Life is stressful right now. Under the nose. I'd be crazy not to feel stressed right now. On the chin. Everything happening in the world, plus the holidays now. So much stress. On the collarbone. I know I'm not the only one stressed. I think we're all stressed. I think we feel like we have to be stressed. Bottom of the ribs. But that may not be true. We can choose how we react to what's going on in our lives. Under the arm. We can see this as an opportunity. We can choose to still be stressed. We can choose to be stressed about some things and not others. Under the arm, other side of the wrist. The point is we have a choice. Top of the head. I'm thinking this woman doesn't know what she's talking about. Doesn't she know about COVID and politics and religion and everything else going on in the world? Or for the parents having to teach their children at home. So much stress. Side of the eye. And we do have a choice. I have a choice. My body reacts to stress as a messenger. I get to choose how I hear those messages and how I react to them. Stress is not required, or reacting to stress is not required. The stress I feel in my body has a message for me. I choose to tune into that message. And if it's just warning, 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 that's fine. I can say, I know things are stressful right now, but we're okay. If bottom of the ribs, if the stress if my body's telling me you need to make a change, or you need to do something for your health or your self-care. I listen to my body. Under the arm. I acknowledge the stress I'm under. I see it. And I choose to let it flow through me. I choose to let it evaporate into the wind. Top of the wrist. My body digests life with ease. Bottom of the wrist. What's one other thing you would say to your gut or to your body? Isn't it an amazing body? Isn't it an amazing body? If we acknowledge the amazingness of it and with gratitude that it deserves of all that it does on it every day without us thinking, every single second it's doing millions of things. And feeling gratitude, releasing the stress, feeling gratitude, deep gratitude for our bodies can shift everything. Let's just stop right there. And I knew I was forgetting something, and for some reason I forgot to say, before we do EFT, we usually start with rating our intensity level. So on on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not stressed at all, and 10 being the highest stress level, kind of where you're at. And, you know, let's say it was a 7, and then after we tap, then we say 0 to 7, and let's maybe say you went from 4, and then you would say, okay, great, what's still there? And then you would tap, and you can keep going until you get down to a 0.